Wow. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dependent Fanatic channel. I am the Dependent Fanatic. What a beautiful night we have here tonight, and I thought, what a great time to finally reveal my Big 12 predictions. I'm going to set you down here, and you can see all the games from every team, the date, and their last year's record, which would be right here. I'm going to start from the worst team to the best team, and then I will give you the two teams I think make the conference championship for the Big 12 and who wins the game and their playoff status. I have already done the Big 10, SEC, and ACC, so you can go watch them videos, and I have yet to do the Pac-12. So subscribe and like this video and hit the bell for notifications so you know when that Pac-12 video will be posted. West Virginia starts at Penn State, and that's a loss. Neil Brown, West Virginia went, what did they go last season? Let's see. West Virginia went 5-7 last season and missed a bowl game. I don't think they're going to do much better. In fact, I think they're going to do worse. At Penn State is a loss. Duquesne, of course, is a win for West Virginia. Pittsburgh at home is a loss. Texas Tech, TCU, they get their bye, but at Houston. Oklahoma State, though, is a win finally at home for West Virginia, one of their three. BYU is the other one. They're going to lose at UCF, at Oklahoma, Cincinnati, and at Baylor to end the season. West Virginia will go 9-3. Next up, might surprise some people. Man, Matt Campbell was the ticket, wasn't he, a couple of years ago? But Iowa State has dropped off a little bit. 4-8 last season. I think it's the same this season. You're going to beat Northern Iowa, and you're going to lose to Iowa at home. Too much. Cade McNamara, Kurt Ferentz, the defense is still intact. You're going to lose to them. And you come back and you go to Ohio, the Bobcats. I think you win that game. And you beat Oklahoma State at home. But at Oklahoma is a loss. TCU is a loss. Cincinnati, at Cincinnati is a loss. You got Baylor. After a bye on the road, you lose that game. Kansas at home, I think you could win that game. I'm giving you a win there. BYU at BYU is a loss. And then Texas a loss, and at Kansas State losses. So 4-8 for Ohio State. Next up, a kind of a Cinderella start for Kansas last season. Wasn't it them and Duke and all the basketball schools had some good records, but fell off at the end. Lance Leopold in his second season now, but I think 4-8, and you get the tiebreaker over Iowa State because, you should have been behind. You should have been behind Iowa State. Excuse me. Anyway, Montana State is a win. Illinois is a loss. At Nevada should be a win. I'm kind of concerned about that, though. BYU at home, you should win that. At Texas is a loss. UCF loss. I mean, you lose the rest of them except for Texas Tech at home, which is kind of remarkable because Texas Tech, I think, is going to be a pretty good team. But this Big 12, I'm telling you, it took me 3 or 4 weeks to figure out what the Big 12. I was going to do them last week, and I needed another week, and then I did I believe the ACC in 1 week. Yep, all right, that's what's going to happen in the ACC, Clemson, Florida State. Yep, bam, it was settled. This Big 12 is a question mark to me. Like Phil Steele said on the Baylor show that 365 Sports, mainly Baylor started that way, but they're growing. Anyway, Phil Steele was on there, and he confirmed my take on Texas and Oklahoma is probably up there, but I don't have his same team. So next up, Kansas went 4-8. Next up is Houston, a new addition to the Big 12. Houston will go 5-7 in my opinion. 3 conference wins gets them. 3 conference wins get Cincinnati the tiebreaker over Houston. So Cincinnati is next. UTSA is a win. Should be. At Rice is a win. TCU is a loss, but Sam Houston State is a win. And you get your bye before you have West Virginia at home, and that's a win. Cincinnati is a win at home. The rest of them are losses. 5-7 for Houston. Cincinnati, like I said, is next. 5-7 as well, but they have the tiebreaker. Eastern Kentucky is a win, but at Pitt, loss. Miami of Ohio is a win, but Oklahoma at home is a loss. At BYU is a loss. You get your bye before you have Iowa State, and you win. Baylor, loss. Oklahoma State, loss. UCF, loss. Houston, loss. You finish with 2 wins to get to that 5-7 record, but you needed one more in there to make a bowl somewhere. West Virginia, at West Virginia is a win. Kansas is a win for Cincinnati, 5-7. Which, I'll tell you right now, 9 of 14 teams. We already went through the 5 that will not go bowling. 9 of the 14 will. They're just going to beat the crap out of each other. BYU is another newcomer. I think they make a bowl. And they'll beat Sam Houston State. They'll beat Southern Utah. And then they'll go on the road to Arkansas, lose. At Kansas, loss. Cincinnati at home is a win. And then they get their bye, but it's at TCU, loss. But they get Texas Tech at home, and that's a win. These teams are so similar to each other where they're just going to, some will beat others. It's a round robin, really, still, in the Big 12. They're going to lose at Texas, at West Virginia. But they come home and beat Iowa State and Oklahoma. I think BYU beats Oklahoma at home and then goes on the road and loses to Oklahoma State. 6-6 for BYU. Oklahoma State is next. Central Arkansas, they'll beat them. And then at Arizona State, I think they lose that game. That's a win for the Pac-12. Jed Fish out there is doing some things. Mike Gundy, though, we're getting better in the team, so I'm going to start talking about their coaches and their quarterbacks. Mike Gundy and Alan Bowman is previously from Texas Tech, but he had a stint at Michigan down on the depth chart, and now he may be the starter at Oklahoma State. I think maybe he can make an impact at Oklahoma State with Mike Gundy, and they sling it around and all that. We'll see. But I think 7-5 is the limit for Oklahoma State. You're going to beat, well, I can't just say you're going to beat South Alabama. They had a great team last season, but I think you do win that game. At Iowa State is a loss. Before you have your bye, and it's Kansas State at home, loss. You have Kansas at home after that. That's a win. At West Virginia is a loss. Cincinnati is a win. Oklahoma is a win. Yes, you beat your in-state rivals, Oklahoma. And you follow that up going to Florida to play UCF, and you lose that game. But you win at Houston, a little bit closer to home, and then BYU at home, 7-5 for Oklahoma State. Texas Tech. I think they go 7-5 as well. At Wyoming should be a win. Oregon at home. I tossed and turned about this one a couple of nights, and I just think you lose to Oregon at home. Bo Nix, Dan Lanning, in his second year I just think they have more talent and better coaching. Tarleton, you should win. At West Virginia, I give you a win. Houston at home, I give you a win. But at Baylor is a loss. You come home and beat Kansas State. And at BYU is a loss. You get your bye. TCU at home. At Kansas is a loss. But UCF at home is a win. So just a jumbled mess. See, I think they have a good enough team to win all the games. But so does everyone else in the Big 12. At Texas is a loss. So 7-5 for Texas Tech. Baylor is your next team, and I think they go 7-5 as well. But they get the nod. They get the tiebreaker. They beat both the previous teams, I believe. Texas State is a win. Utah is a loss, though, at home. Another Pac-12 team coming into Big 12 country and winning. Long Island University is a win. But Texas is a loss. At UCF is a loss. Texas Tech at home is a win. You get your bye. You go on the road and you beat Cincinnati. Iowa State at home as well. Houston at home as well. But then at Kansas State is a loss. At TCU is a loss before you come home and beat West Virginia for a 7-5 season. TCU, the team that beat Michigan last season in the playoff, is going to take a little bit of a hit. They lost a lot. But I like the pieces that they have to where they're not going to fall off to oblivion. They have a shot at winning the whole thing, just like Baylor and the rest of them. TCU, I believe, goes 8-4. They will beat Colorado, Nicholls State. They'll win at Houston, SMU, West Virginia, and at Iowa State. And BYU at home. 7-0 start for TCU. But then comes at Kansas State, that team that they lost to last season in the conference championship game. I think they lose. I like Chris Kleinman, and I like Will Howard at quarterback, their new guy. If he's going to be the quarterback, he should be. You never know. Transfers and things. You're going to lose that game, TCU, but you get your bye, and then you're at Texas Tech. And Texas Tech is riding high right now going into that game. They get their bye before that game as well. Texas is a loss. Baylor at home is a win, but at Oklahoma is a loss. So 8-4 for TCU. That's right. The last newcomer is UCF. I think UCF goes 9-3, but because of tiebreakers, they are the fourth best team in the Big 12. They'll beat Kent State at home. At Boise State is a win. Nova is a win. They go to Kansas State, and that's a loss, but bounce back. Baylor at home is a win. At Kansas, win. You get your bye. But it's at Oklahoma after that. I think you lose that game, and that is the tiebreaker there. West Virginia is a win. At Cincinnati, win. Oklahoma State, win. But at Texas Tech is a loss. And then Houston is a win. And that brings up Oklahoma. So 9-3 for UCF, same as Oklahoma. But they had the tiebreaker, the head-to-head. They're going to be Arkansas State. They'll be Southern Methodist, Tulsa, Cincinnati, and Iowa State. They have the Red River rivalry shootout, used to be. Now it's just the state fair or whatever of Texas. It's a neutral site, but Oklahoma's going to lose that game. They get their bye right after that, and a good spot because they have that tiebreaker versus UCF. And then they go to Kansas and win. At Oklahoma State, like I said, they lose that game. West Virginia at home is a win. At BYU, that's a different place for Oklahoma. BYU is a good team. Give me BYU in that one. And TCU at home is a win. So Oklahoma goes 9-3. There's 2 teams left, and these are the 2 teams that will be in the Big 10 or the Big 12 championship game. The second best team is Kansas State, in my opinion. They'll beat Southeast Missouri. They'll beat Troy. They'll win at Missouri. UCF at home, no big deal. They get their bye. In a good time at Oklahoma State is next. They win that game. But at Texas Tech is a loss. TCU at home is a win. Houston is a win. And then at Texas is their second loss. But they went out against Baylor, at Kansas, and Iowa State. 10-2 for Kansas State. And that leaves one team. And yep, it is Texas. The most talented team in the Big 12. Sarkisian has had plenty of time to build this program up. The quarterback, Quinn Ewers, is pretty good. It has to be Texas, right? We've been saying that for years. I know. Is Texas back? Is Texas back? I think they finally could be. They're going to win this conference. Rice is a win. At Alabama is a loss, but that's their only loss of the season. Doesn't affect the conference. Wyoming, at Baylor, Kansas, Oklahoma, at Houston, BYU, Kansas State, at TCU, at Iowa State, Texas Tech are all wins for Texas, which sets up a 11-1 Texas team versus a 10-2 Kansas State team. A team that was in the conference championship last year. But give me Texas. Just too much talent. It'll be a rematch too. Texas beat Kansas State in the regular season in my predictions. So that sets up a playoff scenario where you can go watch my previous videos, but I have Michigan going undefeated and conference champions, and Georgia going undefeated in conference championships. That's 2 teams that are in the playoff. I think Texas is the third. 1-loss team and conference champions, and we'll see what the 4th spot is. I still have to do the Pac-12, like I said, but it leaves 1 spot for a 1-loss Pac-12 champion or a 1-loss Alabama non-champion. Which will it be? Stay tuned for the Pac-12 predictions. Thank you, everybody, if you stayed the whole 19 minutes so far. Remember to like the video, subscribe, share with others that you think might be interested, and have a great day, everybody. Wow, what a conference, what a run this will be this season for the Big 12.